It took me about 50 years to learn the 10 things that I want to share with you over the next 5 minutes or so. And the first one is that living with regret is much worse than living on a few dollars less every month in retirement. And what do I mean by that? What I mean is do the things that you want to do. Yes, we have to balance our savings and our investing with doing the activities and having the adventures, but for most of us watching this video, we've probably erred on saving more rather than saving less. So give yourself permission to take those trips, to do those activities, to have the adventures while you have your physicality, while you have your mental ability, while you have your energy and excitement to do them. The second one is that our health is much more important than our wealth. And while it's always easy to put off going to the gym, it's always easy to put off doing some of the things that put us in the right mental state of mind, investing in those things are critical. It's about a marathon. We don't want to get to the retirement starting line and find out we've got no juice left, that we went through all of our physical health to eke out every last promotion, to eke out every last raise, to eke out every last attaboys at work. So focus more on our health than our wealth. And I think it'll pay us dividends that later in life you'll be very, very glad for the trade-offs that you made. The next one is what I call the 2 R's. And the 2 R's are we can either focus on being right when we're having a conversation with somebody, or we can focus on our relationship. And when I was younger, I focused more on being right. And you know what? That caused a lot of hurt feelings. That caused me to not have some friends that I otherwise could have. That caused some unnecessarily hurt feelings. So the older I get, the more I think about the second R, the relationship side, and optimizing on the relationship as opposed to optimizing on being right. Okay, the next one is there's always ways to make more money, but there is never a way to make more time. Now, none of us know how much time we have, but the reality is it's a fixed amount. We don't know what it is, but we do know it's a fixed amount. So when we think about, should we do this or should we do that, know that there's always other opportunities to make money. If you find yourself in your 50s and you say, you know what, I took 1 or 2 too many trips in my 30s, my 40s, or my 20s. You know what? That's fine. Work an extra year. That would be a great trade-off. And in fact, probably half the people I know, and I was a financial advisor for over 20 years, half of my clients that had sacrificed and worked hard and made good decisions on the investment side kind of fumbled the ball a little bit at the end where they could have retired, but they weren't sure that they were ready to make that leap. And so they ended up working that extra year anyways. We're going to get back to the cost of working an extra year, but for the most part, opt for those adventures because there's always ways to make more money later, but you oftentimes don't get a second bite at those opportunities to have fun with your friends. Okay, the next one is to optimize on your life versus optimizing on your bank account. If you want to optimize on your bank account, and what that means is you work until the day you die. That's how to maximize your bank account. And none of us want that, right? It's a balance. We want to have financial security, but we also want to live our lives. We also want to enjoy our lives. But too often, it's easier to focus on the things that we can measure, and we can measure our bank accounts, but we can't measure, our enjoyment meter. And we don't know how much time that we have. So it's super easy to optimize on that bank account. But one of the things I've learned that I want to share with you is to be willing to optimize on the thing you can't measure, which is optimizing on your life, optimizing on fun, optimizing on adventures. and be willing to deplete that bank account and not optimize on that. The next one is kind of related, and this is for my case, but I'm gonna share how it relates to all of us, and that is for me, if I'm lucky, I'm 60 years old now. If I'm lucky, I have 1,000 weeks of healthy, active time remaining. My family, on the male side of my family, we have heart issues, so I likely do not have 1,000 weeks, and unfortunately, many of you watching don't have 1,000 weeks left once you reach 60. The World Health Organization says that the average American loses our health at 66.1 years of age. That's just 13 months after when many of us are thinking we might retire at 65. I don't know about you, but I want a heck of a lot more time to have fun in retirement than 13 months. Now, in some countries, in Japan, in Southeast Asia, and parts of Europe, their healthy life expectancy is almost 75 years old. So their decision set is different. But most of my audience is in the US, Canada, Europe, and for most of us, we're looking at closer to 66, 67, maybe 70 if we're lucky, before we have a major health issue on average. Okay. The next one, number 7, is there's never a convenient time to reconnect with old friends. There's never a convenient time to say goodbye to people that were important in your life when you were younger. Recently, one of my aunts passed away, my mother's sister, and it would have been very convenient for me to wait until springtime of this year, and it's springtime as I record this. And fortunately, my youngest daughter convinced me, you know what, you don't know how long your aunt has. And so I went to see her before Christmas time, and there was a lot going on. It's the holiday time. Well, you know what? She passed away shortly after the first of the year. And I am forever grateful to my youngest daughter for encouraging me to invest that time. And likewise, there's never a convenient time to do something like that. But I would forever have regret if I didn't get a chance to tell my aunt that I love her, that I appreciated the role that she played in my life when I was younger, and to get a chance to say goodbye. And none of us know when that time is going to be for one of our friends that we want to see, but it's not a good time. Okay, the next one. One of the most important decisions in all of our lives, if you decide to get married, is who you choose as your spouse. Now, for many of us, we made that decision years ago or decades ago. But you know, it's never too late to recommit to that relationship. If you have a good relationship, try to make it stronger. If you have a rocky relationship, can you repair that? And I have permission from my wife to share that our relationship was not always smooth sailing, but fortunately, she was willing to invest in the relationship, and so was I. And I know not everybody's relationship is meant to last forever, but it's worth the effort. It's worth the time and the money to invest in it if you think that you can repair that relationship, because you know what's more expensive than a $200 per hour marriage therapist. What's more expensive than that is divorce. So consider that if it's the right thing for you. Consider reinvesting in your relationship. Okay, the next one. Work will not love you back. I retired about 6 months ago. I loved my job. I had a great job. I enjoyed what I did. I was good at it. It was fun. It was relatively easy for me. It felt like it was important. I was a financial advisor for over 20 years. I had a great boss. I liked the team that I was with. But you know what? That company continues to go along smoothly without me. And it was a wonderful chapter of my life. But your work, once you leave, you know, your work, the business you were at, it continues to go on. There's a saying that the cemetery is filled with people that were indispensable at work. In other words, unfortunately, we all can, our companies can all survive without us. And then perhaps the most important one is when you find yourself in a situation where you need to make a good decision. One of the things that has been super helpful for me is to look at it from the vantage point of what would my 80-year-old self say? For instance, when it came time for me to retire, I was a little nervous to tell my boss I was going to retire. Not that I was worried about any repercussion, to be candid. I was worried about giving up my paycheck. I was worried about giving up part of my identity. I was worried about giving up a part of my routine that took at least half of my waking hours. Um, I was worried about all those things, but the thing that gave me the confidence and the courage, frankly, to go forward with the path that was right for me was asking myself, what would 65-year-old version of myself tell 59-year-old Azul? And there it was clear. The future me was saying, "Azul, retire. Azul, you want all of your free time. Azul, take advantage of the youth of your senior years." And that's what I want for you. I want you to be able to take full advantage, to squeeze all the juice out of the youth of your senior years. And if you enjoyed this video, I know you're going to enjoy my free weekly newsletter, which you can sign up for here, or and the next video for you to watch of mine, the YouTube algorithm says this is the next video that's perfect for you to watch next. Thanks for watching this one. Bye-bye.